Today we're going to share with you how to make this beautiful rosemary wreath. So come and join me and I'll show you how we made this beautiful rosemary wreath. Go over what supplies you're going to need first, and of course you're going to need your greens, whether they are store-bought or trimmed off of your trees. At Christmas time I like to go around the neighborhood and maybe I'll put some rosemary and magnolia, but I'll also take trimmings off of blue fir, blue spruce, pine trees, juniper bushes. I have 2 holly bushes in my front yard that I like to trim up. This is a great opportunity to cut those things back, but then give those trimmings a second life. Holly and magnolia make an amazing Christmas wreath. So, you know what else too? I have a Lowe's not too far from where I live, and they have these banks of shrubbery that are up by the road around their parking lot. You know what? Go over there and trim me off some if you like what they have. Nobody is going to complain that you're trimming their bushes for free, and everybody benefits from that. So you need your greens. Always cut more than you think you're going to need, and you're going to need a wire wreath form. This is a 12-inch or a 10-inch wire wreath form. Let me make sure this is a 12-inch wire wreath form. This is the smallest that I could find at my Michael's. I would have preferred a smaller one. 12-inch means that it is 12 inches in diameter in the center, not on the outside. So you're going to need a wire wreath form. You can also fashion a wire from a coat hanger if that's your preference. You're going to need some paddle wire. I have 2 examples here. It comes in just the regular silver color or in this green color, and that's what we're going to use today. And then we're going to cover our wire form with some Spanish moss. Now, Spanish moss grows all over the place here, and I went ahead and I bought a bag because most of you are not going to have access to fresh Spanish moss unless you live in the South. So it comes in a bag. It's about $4. It just says moss, but it's Spanish moss, okay? This is clean and dry. If you live in the South and have Spanish moss hanging off your trees, go ahead and use it. Just pull it off, give it a good rinse in a bucket of water, lay it out in the sun and let it dry out. If you're worried about bugs in the Spanish moss, stick it in a 150-degree oven for about an hour and then let it cool completely. It'll kill any bugs that may be in it. So, that's the supplies you're going to need. They're few and simple, and the wow factor is going to be off the charts here. Now, for those of you who may not know, I was a florist for a long time. I actually own my own flower shop. So I know my way around a wreath. No pun intended. In order to make the moss workable, if you've purchased it, it's not fresh, then you want to moisten it a little. So you're just going to, I have a bowl of water. It's not warm water, it's just water. It's just a bowl of water. When I worked in the first flower shop I ever worked in, which is where I got a lot of my training, these are all those little tricks and tips. Now, Spanish moss isn't going to absorb like a sponge, but you do want to make sure you squeeze it out. Getting it wet is really just helping you not get Spanish moss everywhere. Okay, so all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of stick it on there, okay? And you get your paddle wire, all right? And then you're just going to wrap it. And don't worry, because this isn't really going to be seen a whole lot, so, but it's going to cover up our wire frame. So get your end. This is my end. I'm just going to kind of tuck it in here. And then you can take your paddle wire. And the other thing too is the moss is going to hide the paddle wire nicely. So you're going to do that all the way around. I'm going to go finish mine, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, I've gone ahead and started putting some of the magnolia leaves on, but you can see that I've totally wired that Spanish moss onto the ring, and it is still going to fluff off a little, but this helps you to keep it on that wire form. I did neglect to tell you, the convex side should go down So the arch on the wreath should be up when you set it on the table to work on your wreath. Okay, you can see that I took the magnolia off because once I got playing with it, I decided I really didn't care for it that much. So we're just going to do rosemary today. What you have to do is you need to cut your rosemary and you need to make it into bundles, okay? Okay, what you want to do to make these bundles is you want to gather a few stems of rosemary, just like this. It doesn't have to be perfect or neat. The beauty part about this is supposed to be a natural wreath, and it's supposed to have that type of a look to it. It's supposed to look as if you found it laying on the forest floor, but we all know you didn't, so it's okay. And kind of shear up the bottoms. Take your paddle wire and just kind of wrap it. Wrap it fairly tight because remember, these are fresh, and as they dry, they're going to shrink. And when they shrink, they're going to come detached a little bit from the wire. So you want to make sure the wire is super tight, okay? And then you just put it in your pile. Now, I think I have enough bundles to go around the inside of my wreath. And this is how we start doing that. You can just take a bundle and wire it to the wreath. I know this seems pretty easy, and it is pretty easy. And it's going to take you a minute or two to get used to how the paddle wire feels in your hand. Take this next bundle and overlap it with the stems from the last bundle, so you really kind of can't see so much where you wired those together, okay? And then just kind of, actually, you need to bring the wire down here just a little bit. Then you put your next bundle, wire it in, and remember, wrap it up pretty taut around there. Then kind of stretch your wire out down to the next place. Grab yourself another bundle and wrap again. Then come down here. Grab yourself another bundle. Now this is just a branch. I didn't wire this because I didn't feel like I needed to. Just kind of position this to where it looks the best. Now we may go around this a second time with another group of bundles of rosemary, just so it looks really beautiful and full. So I'm going to finish this round, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what we're going to do next. I finished going around one full time with my bundles. Now, I think it needs to be fuller, so I'm going to continue going around. Now, the tricky part here is when you go around a second time, you are going to want to kind of wind your wire so that you're not mashing down the layer below. So, what you're going to want to do is make sure that your wire is positioned so that you're not mashing down the layer above, and you may have to kind of weave it in, but it's no big deal. It's pretty simple, and now it's just a matter of personal preference for you as to how full you want to make your rosemary wreath. And you can continue on until you reach that particular point. And if you feel like that one was kind of haphazard, you can go ahead and give it a little wire, and it'll kind of hold it in place for you, and you won't be able to see it. It'll be beautiful, but you won't be able to see that you kind of wrapped it up like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to add a few more bundles here and there, and I'll be back and I'll show you how we're going to finish this off. Okay, now I have completed my rosemary wreath. And this is what it looks like on the back. You can see all the wrappy wires. But the best part is after you get enough wire on here, you can just fill in wherever you want to by getting a heavy stem and kind of sticking it in there, because there's enough wire in there to support it. So that's one thing that is kind of nice about when you get to a certain point. I like the way this looks. It's very symmetrical, and the rosemary is kind of in a big swirl, and that's how I want it. Now, you can finish this off any way you like. You can leave it just as it is. But today I think I'm going to just do a little bow. And I'm going to come in here with my ribbon. And you can even, you know, do this and hang it like that with the bow. I'm not going to hang it like that for my kitchen, because I'm going to hang this on the inside of my kitchen door. So there you have it, a finished rosemary wreath. This is going to, if you hang this outside in the cold weather, it's going to last a good long time. You might want to spray it with some fresh water from time to time, like every other day or so. It'll keep it fresh longer. If you're going to use this as just a decorative wreath, that's about all you have to do to make it last, if you're going to like use it for the Christmas season or just about anything. Now, this is also a great wreath that you can give as a culinary gift to the culinary lover or the culinarian in your life. This, once it's dry, the rosemary leaves can be used in cooking, so that's a nice thing. Just make sure that it's not sprayed with pesticides or anything, and it is all natural. And you tell them this is going to shed. So at some point, they may want to disassemble and take the needles off of the branches and store them in a bag or a jar or something. I wanted to tell you a couple of interesting facts about rosemary. Of course, rosemary is native to the Mediterranean, and the strongly scented plant symbolizes remembrance, love, friendship, and fidelity. Mythology about it dates back to the ancient Egyptians, where it was often found in tombs, and later it was strongly featured in the mythologies of both the ancient Greeks and the Romans, and legends associating it with the Virgin Mary persist to this day. Rosemary is inspired by the ancient Greek belief that rosemary enhanced memory. It has been used in weddings since that time as a symbol for fidelity. Brides frequently wore it in wreaths around their heads, as Anne of Cleves is said to have done when she married King Henry VIII. And some couples also made bouquets of rosemary to give to wedding guests as reminders of their love and promises of loyalty to each other. The same association was evoked at funerals, where mourners frequently tossed rosemary into the grave in loving remembrance of the deceased. In literature during the Great Renaissance, playwrights such as William Shakespeare and Ben Jonson used rosemary's symbolism to communicate the desire for remembrance, love, and fidelity in their work. In Hamlet, Ophelia powerfully uses rosemary to plead with her brother to remember their family and avenge their father's murder. Ben Jonson plays allude to its use during New Year's celebrations, when it is offered as a gift to guests to wish them happiness. An ancient legend linked rosemary with the Virgin Mary. It was believed that she threw her cloak over a rosemary bush, and that is why its flowers are blue. This association caused people to link rosemary with good fortune and protection. For example, rosemary placed under the pillow was said to protect against evil spirits and bad dreams. And in French hospitals, they burned rosemary to prevent infection. In ancient Rome, in the home, rosemary was draped on household statues because it symbolized stability. And later, during the Middle Ages, newlywed couples would plant a sprig of rosemary in their garden. If it grew, it was declared a good omen for the couple. Thriving rosemary gardens symbolized the strength and power of a woman of the house. So I thought that was fun. Fun facts for you today as we leave after we've made this rosemary wreath together. I think it's an appropriate gift for not only the culinarian or the holidays, but also think about it as a wedding gift. Perhaps if you have someone getting married in the summer or spring, it might be nice to give a potted rosemary plant as a gift to them, simply because of the high symbolism that it evokes with regard to love, fidelity, and remembrance. So I hope that this was fun and enjoyable for you, and I hope that if you want to give making a rosemary wreath a try, that you will, and that you learn how to do that today. So I hope you try it, I hope you love it, and until next time, I'll see ya.